Good morning. Welcome to my channel, Black Cat Divination. My name is Heidi. On this video, I'm going to review this book right here. This is something that I received a couple of days ago. I'm learning Lenormand, and I wanted a book as a quick reference so that I didn't have to keep referring to the computer when I'm doing readings. This book is exactly what I was looking for. In fact, I'm turning to the exact reason why I decided to get this book. These are the card combination pages, the ones that I've been reviewing on my channel this past week or so. I'm going to review this book for you. That way you can determine whether or not it's a tool that you'd like to use as well. I've got through about half of this book so far. I've read through about half. And I've browsed the other half that I haven't read yet. And I have to say, it's exactly what I was looking for. This book is exactly what I was looking for. Let me show you. All right, so first of all, The Art of Lenormand Reading, Decoding Powerful Messages, and the author is Alexandre Musruck. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Alexandre's bio is in the back of the book. There he is right there. I did read the intro. I didn't read the entire intro because I was excited to get onto the content, but it does sound like Alexandre has a lot of experience with Lenormand, and he seems like he's a good teacher, just based on the little part that I read. So, you know, any good book is going to introduce the topic, and that's what this book does. It talks about journaling, talks about framing the question, what kind of deck you should look at buying. It talks about the anatomy of the cards, you know, there's only 3 basic things on a Lenormand card: the main symbol, the card number, and then the playing card insert. On some decks, not all decks. So it talks about that. It talks about the signifier in a reading, the man and the woman, the typical signifier. It also talks about using other cards for other types of relationships. Like, for example, a gay man relationship, you can use the dog as a gay partner because that represents a loyal friend, so it could be a partner. It also talks about a lesbian relationship, for example. You could use the snake as the other woman. And then third parties, the dog and the snake. And then also I know that the rider can be used as a third party as well. It gives a brief history of Mademoiselle Lenormand, who, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it. I didn't take French in school. I took Spanish. So bear with me if I try to say something in French. Gives her a brief history. She actually did not create the Lenormand deck. The deck was created for her. She was a well-known fortune teller during the times of Napoleon. And this fortune telling method became popular in the mid-1800s. She passed in 1843. Talks about the card nuances. Gives like the breakdown of the action cards, portrait cards, mood cards, timing cards. And then it goes through each card individually, giving the meaning. And this section I really liked. It gives the basic message of each card. For example, the rider, keep charging ahead. It gives the person that it can represent, a young, positive man, a lover. It gives the body part that the card can represent if you're doing a health reading. It gives timing meanings. The influence, neutral, positive, or bad, a negative. It gives the archangel, the planet, the zodiac sign, which is nice because that's something I haven't learned yet. It talks about in a love reading if you're single, in a love reading if you're in a relationship, and then health, money, work. And then here's this part that I really liked and I wanted to tell you guys about. It gives the special power of each card. So, for example, the rider is the bearer of news. Every card that comes before the rider in the same line describes the message that he's bringing forward. So that's interesting. Another special power. For example, let's look at the child. The special power of the child card is, it can represent an infant. That's kind of mundane, but yeah, the child can represent infant. The fox, the closer the fox, the clever, smarter the querent. So if the fox is close to the querent, it indicates that the querent is clever. The fox is the master of lies and disguise. Beware. So I really like that added section on the cards, the special power of each card. Some of them have some really interesting special powers. So for example, the star card has the power to magnify things. So if you look at the, if there are positive cards around the star cards, you can expect something like a miracle. If there are strong negative cards around the star card, it announces misfortune. So be careful with the star card, because although it appears to be a positive card, it just magnifies cards around it. So I think it can go both ways. So that I found that really interesting, the special power on each card. So I really liked that in this book. It gives an extra thing that you can look at in a reading. So that's one thing I really enjoyed about the book. Those are all the card meanings. And then this is a nice little section right here. This is additional keywords for each card. And this is like a quick reference. So if you just turn to these pages, if you're stuck on a card in a reading, turn to these pages and get a quick reference on keywords for each card. It's really nice. Okay, the next section, it does talk about card reversals, and there are no card reversals in Lenormand. It's a in-depth reading enough as it is without having to reverse cards, and it explains that in this short little explanation on why Lenormand does not use reversals like tarot or some oracles do. Lenormand significators, it talks about other cards that you can use in a reading. For example, if somebody asks a question about their work, you could use the fox card as a significator. Somebody wants to know about their money situation or finances, you could use the bear for money. You could also use fish as a signifier. I'm having trouble with that word, significator. If you're talking about a marriage or partnership, you could use the ring as your significator. So this is a nice little section on that. And then it goes through categories of significators. So job cards could be either the fox or bear. Also, you can use the tower and the anchor for jobs. Love and relationships are obvious, the ring and the heart. Health cards, money cards. I won't go through everything. I'll just give you an idea. The language of Lenormand section gives some samples, talks about the combining the cards and how they affect each other. So then that, of course, that leads into the Lenormand card combinations, and that's what my videos have been focusing on. And here's that section that I was talking about. It goes through every single card one by one, and then it gives all the combinations for each card in a nice little short, like, turn to the page reference, easy to access right in the middle of the book. Easy to access and find those card combinations, especially if you're in the middle of a reading and you get stuck. This is a really nice part of this book. Then it talks about spiritual readings with Lenormand. It gives all of the archangels that are associated with the cards. It tells a little bit about each one of them, and that's something I haven't been familiar with. So I was happy to see this in the book because it's something I've been wanting to look into and I just haven't yet. So there's that. And then it talks about guardian angels as well. And then it gives physical attributes with the Lenormand. Each card has not every card. I think most of the cards have, like, for example, the Rider card could represent somebody with tan skin, a foreigner, somebody from overseas, fit, slender, tall. So these are physical attributes. So somebody asks, what does my soulmate look like? You can do a reading and cards will indicate what that person looks like. I found that interesting too. So here's a quick reference for that section. Physical attributes, for example, the scythe could represent somebody who's got a tattoo, I guess because of the cutting tool. It could be a tattoo or a scar, and this person could be slim or curvy. This is interesting. I haven't played around with attribute readings yet, but this is going to be useful if I decide to do that. The dog represents somebody with chestnut brown hair, brown eyes, a prominent tongue, whatever that means. What is a prominent tongue? I never really notice people's tongues when I meet them. The bear can be a heavy, hairy person, voluptuous. Child can be innocent looking, young, petite. that sort of thing. So those are, I guess every single card does have an attribute. So that's interesting. Okay, so if you did a reading for somebody who wanted to know what their soulmate looks like, any card that comes out would give an answer. So that's good to know. Here is the section on playing card inserts. Again, this is something, and I haven't got to this section yet. This is a part that I've just breezed through, but I want to get to know these because I know that they're significant, and it's something I haven't looked at yet. So the playing card attributes, excuse me, that's not the right word. Playing card meanings. There they are. I won't go through these yet. Again, like I said, I haven't familiarized myself with this section yet. So, but I definitely am going to, that's for sure. Lenormand card spreads. I really like this section of the book, and I haven't dived headfirst into it yet, but I've glanced at it. Talks about the 3-card spread, the 5-card spread. Talks about the 7-card spread, which I haven't tried yet. The 9-card spread, that's one I'm familiar with. Here's what's nice. Here's what's nice about this book and the spread section. It gives you exactly what you're looking at with any given spread. So the focus card is the first one. The past is number 6, 4, and 8. Indirect influences would be cards number 6, 1, 9. So the diagonals are indirect influences, and then this diagonal is an indirect. So it has all of these. So during a reading, if you wanted to refer to this, if you've forgotten, oh gosh, I want to know what the future is, and I forgot which column it's in, you can look here and you can see, oh, the past represents 6 cards, 6, 4, and 8. So that's a really nice section of the book. Has the grand tableau. I have played around with the grand tableau. This particular author of this book likes the 8x4+4 over the 9x4, which I actually prefer this spread as well. But I've tried the other one. The author calls it a 9x5, but that's a typo because there's only 36 cards, so it would have to be a 9x4. But anyway, it gives the grand tableau, and then what's nice about this is it gives you a key for the types of readings that you can offer in a grand tableau. So the first 3 cards is the key. It's kind of like introduction to what this reading, the flavor of the reading might be. The tone of the reading is what the author in this book called it. That's nice. And then also it talks about like where the significator lands. So when you look for the significator in a grand tableau, then you can identify their past cards, their future cards, and then where they are in the present. And then, like for example, here this significator landed at the end, so they've got a lot of cards that you can examine for their past. You can look at what's going on in their present, but they don't have anything in the future if the significator lands there. Talks about the 4 corners and what those could represent in a reading. Again, like I said, I haven't read this section of the book yet, but I'm definitely going to spend some time doing that. It talks about the near and far, the distance of cards, and how that can affect the querent in a reading. Talks about the box around the significator, the houses, the house section. When a card lands on a house, like these are all in order. I don't know if you know much about the Lenormand houses. I've kind of looked into them a little bit. But if a card lands, say for example on the child card, say the significator is on the top of this card when you deal them out, those two things have, interaction as well. Besides the cards that come out next to each card, where they land on top of the houses matters as well. So that's another aspect to the reading. Talks about knighting. That's something I have not spent a lot of time looking at, but it's something I definitely will. The line of wisdom, I've heard these called the destiny cards. The 4 cards at the bottom of the 8x4+4 is kind of like, let me read this. The line of wisdom are the last 4 cards of the tableau, the bottom row. These serve as the punctuation to your reading, or as I read, a message that the divine would like you to know. It can also be used to answer a precise question. If you're going to do this, you'd have to tell the cards beforehand that you want these last 4 cards to be an answer to that particular question. That's interesting. That's something I didn't know. I just learned that from reading that just now. So then here's another thing I really like about this book. It uses a real reading with the Grand Tableau to show, just an example of, to show what a reading would look like using these things that you learn in this section of the book. The four corners. It tells you what the question was. I really like this one. Like I said, I haven't dived into this yet, but I'm definitely going to. It gives the present, the future. It identifies certain cards in the reading, it looks like. Got the snake. It looks where the snake lands, plus the ship. It looks at different cards, significant sections of the reading that should be explained to the querent. Anyway, so that's that section. It talks about yes or no questions, the cross layout, the cross spread, cross in action, which I'm not familiar with this, but this looks really interesting. I might have to try this. Cross in action. And then the author has a signature spread that he likes to use, and it's a double row 7. The focus, current situation, outcome. I might have to try that too, because that looks interesting. I have not looked at all options of spreads. I found a few that work for me right now, and then I'm kind of practicing with, but I'm looking forward to trying some different ones. The book talks about clearing your deck, praying over your deck, blessing your cards, setting your intention, which is nice. And there you go. Acknowledgements. So that's that book. It cost me, I bought it on Amazon, it was like, I think it was $14 or $15. Looks like if it was in a bookstore it would cost $19.99, because that's the price on the back of the book, but I bought it off of Amazon, and I thought that $15 was definitely reasonable for this. I hope that helps you. If you're thinking about getting yourself a resource book, I definitely recommend this one. This has everything in it that I was hoping it would have, and more. It has everything and more. So I will be using this in the future for my card combination videos, rather than referring to the Cafe Lenormand online, just because I prefer to use books over getting online to reference things, especially while I'm doing videos. I think this will be a little bit more, I don't know, it'll be easier for me. That's my feeling anyway. So anyway, I won't go on and on and on. No need to do that. I hope you found this informational video helpful, especially if you are looking to purchase a book yourself. Give me some feedback in the comments if you have anything you'd like to share. Maybe you found a reference book that you found really helpful and you'd like to let me know about that, because I will probably be, as I dive further and further into Lenormand, I will probably be looking for books that have a little bit more in-depth sort of information. So if you have recommendations for that, I'm all ears, and I appreciate any comments that anybody would like to offer in my comment section. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video.